Gospel reflection for the Thursday of the second week of Lent, taking from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 19. And today we hear again the story of Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus was a pauper who sat at the gate of the rich man. He was ragged, he was poor, he was starving. He was hoping for charity from the rich man, who we heard wore purple and fine linen, and probably ate very well, but didn't share his table with the poor man at his gate. We hear Jesus and his account of the poor man's predicament, saying that even the dogs came and licked his wounds. Well, the Middle East 2,000 years ago, like today actually, would have considered dogs by and large as either working animals, guard dogs mostly, or as stray dogs, effectively animals that prowled around the streets of the villages and towns, catching what small prey like mice and rats they could, but also cleaning up the garbage, the edible garbage that was thrown away by the local people. They were not the pampered pets that we may see in our lives. So to be licked by a dog was kind of disgusting, but at the same time, there was a strong uh, mythology that the saliva of a dog could be healing, especially for wounds and sores. And this was based in fact, because actually research shows that the saliva of dogs does have a certain antibiotic quality to it. So that when Jesus says, even the dogs came and licked his sores, we may recoil with a degree of disgust. But actually, what Jesus is saying is that the dogs showed more compassion than the rich man. Now, both Lazarus and the rich man die. Lazarus, because of his earthly life where he had nothing, but he was fundamentally one who harmed no one, he is taken to the bosom of Abraham. But the rich man, with his selfish life, he goes to the flames. But looking up, he sees Lazarus in the bosom of Abraham, and he cries out to Abraham, Father, Abraham, send Lazarus to me to dip his finger in the water so that he can lay it on my scorched tongue. Even in death, even in the torments of hellfire, the rich man thinks about himself. Send Lazarus to come and relieve my suffering. Of course, there is a little bit of a change in this approach when he then asks Father Abraham to send Lazarus to warn his 5 brothers about the dangers of selfishness and self-centeredness. And Abraham very sadly says, well, you're reaping the consequences of your life, and your brothers will reap the consequences of their lives. After all, they've had the law, they've had the prophets. I guess even if a man rises up from the dead, they will carry on acting in their selfish way. And the moral of the story is very clear. Compassion for our less fortunate brothers and sisters is what is expected of us. And if we are going to enjoy that eternity in the bosom of Abraham, then we had better learn to notice the poor man at our gate.